Most people look back at the 1970s and see a collage of grainy photos, bell-bottoms, and disco. They see it as a period of nostalgia, but psychology suggests something much deeper, of humans to possess a specific behavioral blueprint when high-stakes responsibility. While modern generations are optimized by algorithms, you were forged by the elements. You are what we call the civilized feral archetype. Let's look at the blueprint that makes you a different biological entity in the modern world. The architecture of initiative. Your blueprint began with a vacuum. Think back to the phrase, "Go find something to do." Today, that sounds like parental neglect. In the 70s, it was the spark for self-directed problem solving. In an age of scheduled playdates and digital entertainment, the impact of that vacuum is often overlooked. Studies on unstructured childhood show that by being forced to invent your day from nothing, you developed significantly stronger executive function. This is why, as an adult, you don't need a manual or a manager hovering over your shoulder. Your brain learned early how to generate purpose from emptiness. While others wait for instructions or a notification to tell them what's next, you are already building the solution. You don't just follow the path, you possess the internal engine required to create one. The calibration of fear. The second pillar of your blueprint is adaptive risk calibration. You climbed trees that were objectively too high. You rode bikes without helmets. You disappeared for hours with no way for your parents to track your GPS. Modern safety culture views this as dangerous. Developmental psychology, however, views it as essential threat assessment training. Because you experienced physical risk, the scrapes, the broken bones, and the close calls, your nervous system learned the objective difference between actual danger and manageable risk. This is your superpower in the modern workplace. When a project fails or chaos hits the office, you remain supernaturally calm while others panic. Your baseline anxiety is lower because your body remembers surviving the feral reality of a world without safety nets. The internalized anchor. Perhaps the most extinct part of your blueprint is your capacity for solitude. You grew up in the pre-digital silence. There was no screen demanding your attention every 3 seconds. Research shows that people from this era show significantly less anxiety when alone with their thoughts. You possess what we call analog patience. This was a byproduct of waiting days for photos to develop or a full week for the next episode of a TV show. This wasn't just waiting, it was a high-level exercise in impulse control. This discipline leads to better long-term outcomes in relationships and careers. You aren't addicted to the constant dopamine spikes of modern life. You have the rare ability to wait for the right result rather than settling for the instant one. The autonomy engine. The final component of your wiring is unsupervised autonomy. At 8 years old, your only tracker was the streetlights. This lack of constant supervision developed internal motivation rather than external compliance. You made judgment calls and you dealt with the consequences yourself. Today, this manifests as a level of competence that might look like coldness to some or antisocial behavior to others. In reality, it is simply pure self-reliance. You don't seek validation because you were never raised in a feedback loop. You know your worth because you tested it against the real world, alone in the woods or on the street, decades ago. Conclusion: the civilized feral. You are not outdated. You are a carrier of capabilities that are going extinct. You are civilized enough to lead, yet feral enough to survive a world that would break a more supervised generation. You grew up on hose water, and it made you indestructible. You didn't just survive the 70s. You